Okay, so at this point you've got a pretty good idea of just how a modern semi-automatic handgun works and how a modern revolver works. And that level of knowledge that you have now is extremely important, because without it you'll never be confident, and therefore you'll never be comfortable with your handgun. But that said, that basic level of knowledge is just not quite enough to do you any good when you're standing in a gun store surrounded by hundreds of different models of handguns and dozens of different manufacturers, and you've got to choose one for yourself. And that basic level of knowledge isn't going to do you a whole lot of good when you're looking at two nearly identical guns side by side and you want to know which one of these guns is going to be better suited for target shooting, which one is better suited for self-defense, which one would be more comfortable for me to carry concealed, which one would be more reliable, which one would be more accurate. Now the good news is the answers to these questions can be known or can be established in your mind when you're standing in a gun store just looking at and handling a handgun. You don't have to be able to take it to a range and shoot it to figure those things out. And the answers to these questions are critical. I mean, if we're going to decide on a handgun for self-defense, then really what we're saying is that we're putting the trust of our lives into that gun's hands. And so we have to be able to know the answers to all those questions. But even if you already own a handgun, at some point you're going to wonder, how does this gun compare to that gun or this gun or that gun? And so you've got to be able to know the answers to these questions. So what's the best way to do that? Well, that's the point of the part of this program that you're about to watch. This type of education has never been laid down before. You're going to be getting a phenomenal education in handguns. And you're going to be learning some of the most important lessons that can be learned regarding handgun selection and handgun characteristics. To be exact, we've narrowed the different possible ways that one handgun can be compared to another handgun down to 15 different characteristics. Okay? That's 15 different characteristics. And we're going to be going through them in order from most important, therefore the ones that you should not compromise on, to least important, ones that you can compromise on and still know that you're getting a handgun that's going to be useful for its purpose. Remember that. That's the whole point of what you're about to watch. Keep that knowledge in your mind, because some of the stuff we go into could get a little, not so much dense, but it could get a little, boring. But it's very important. You only got to get this education one time. Once you have it, you've got it for the rest of your life. It's going to save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, or more importantly, it's going to save you a lot of heartache from having made a bad choice on handgun selection. So that said, let's dive in. I'm going to read off what characteristics we're going to go into so you can know what to expect. And then there's going to be a chapter on each one of these characteristics. And remember, each of these characteristics is evaluated simply because it has an important impact on your handgun's ability to do its job, which, again, is to send a projectile downrange as accurately and as quickly as possible in a manner that is safe for the user and dangerous for the target. These 15 characteristics are, again, in order from most important to least important: quality, caliber, height, trigger staging and weight, ammunition capacity, manual safeties or not, length of the gun, the width of the gun, the weight of the gun, its grip texture, its sight design and configuration, whether or not it has a takedown lever, whether or not it has an external hammer, breech loading capabilities, and finally, chambering indicators. Now this list may surprise you. You might be thinking, where's accuracy on the list? Where's how comfortable it is on the list? Or where's reliability or durability on that list? Well, here's the thing. You can't measure those things. You can measure these 15. But each of these 15, as you're about to learn, interact in a very special and integrated way to define how comfortable they are to shoot, or how comfortable they are to carry, or how accurate they are, or how reliable they will be. And that's why learning these 15 characteristics is so important. So stick with this. I guarantee you, you're going to be very pleased you got this education. And by the time you finish this section, if you can pay attention to each of these 15 characteristics, and maybe if you go through it again in another week or so to make sure your memory's sharp, you're going to be in the top few percent of those who have of education quality in terms of handgun selection and what parts of a handgun affect its ability to do its job.